looking around, and now blows to get us underway here at Carrow Road, with Ndong floating a ball out wide left, and it looks to me like Norwich might be going with a 4.
No, they've gone with 5.
They've gone with 5. Here they come on the break. Norwich, Naismith just inside the Sunderland half, push back eventually into the centre of defence to Zimmerman, forwards then to Maddison, James Maddison, who was signed from Coventry last year, and then out to Marcel Frank, one of the Germans, signed by Farke in the summer. And it's swept up by Norwich to Didier Ndong on the halfway line, out to McGeady on the left, and back into Ndong. Skipped 2 challenges, but Naismith wins it, finds Maddison, who's rolled it out to the left here to James Husband. Husband just inside the Sunderland half, skips around Honeyman and plays it back into the centre, where it's quickly whipped by Harrison Reed, the midfielder on loan from Southampton. Back to Zimmerman, out to Russell Martin on the far side, and back again to Zimmerman in the centre, just behind the centre circle in this opening minute. No goals, Norwich 0, Sunderland 0, live on BBC Newcastle. Again, just interchanging passes, the 2 Germans at the back for Norwich, and eventually Honeyman putting a squeeze on Frank, and he's played it again to Zimmerman just at the edge of the centre circle, out to Martin on the right hand side, who tries to find Jerome, but on his shoulder is Browning. Hooked the ball high in the air, nod down here, and Watkins trying to get through here in the penalty area, but a block made just in front of the penalty spot by Kone and Jones, and the ball breaks for Jason Steele.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that, you know, when you are going to clear the ball, make sure you get a good clean strike on it.
Steele then with a big kick through the middle. This will be cleared by Zimmerman. In fact, it was Frank who got his head on it. Honeyman turns it back now to Billy Jones on the right hand side, and tucks it inside then to Ndong just inside the Norwich half, and then down the right to Honeyman from Jones, a throw to Sunderland just a few yards down from Daniel Farke, who is quite a character, longish hair, bearded, and his long overcoat. A former Borussia Dortmund number 2, if you like, the reserve team manager. And down the right hand side into the corner to Graben, who had a spell here of course before a move to Bournemouth, and then a throw to Norwich just a yard or so up from the corner flag on the left hand side, away to our right, the river end of the ground. In the 3rd minute, Norwich 0, Sunderland 0. Glorious sunshine. Simon Grayson in his tracksuit. Watkins heading it on, the former Cheltenham striker, and it's rolled out into touch for a throw to Sunderland between the 2 managers. Billy Jones will take this just inside the Norwich City half, looking for Vaughan out on the right wing, another former Norwich City striker, as Kone wrestles with Cameron Jerome and is deemed to have fouled the tall Norwich striker.
So you're just seeing the strength and the power of Cameron Jerome, and that's going to be an interesting battle between Kone and Jerome there. He's got to make sure he knows what he's all about. He'll want to feel you so he can try to roll you.
He's got a good strike rate actually at Norwich. It's almost 1 in 2 for Cameron Jerome in terms of games started and his goal record. Here's Reed on the halfway line. Husband was screaming for it out on the left, but it's gone down the right. Jerome out to the right hand side, where they're trying to work this down the touchline, and finally it's knocked out into touch away from Wilshut.
And that's what he'll do, Wilshut. He'll get the ball, he'll knock it out of his feet, and he'll run. Very, very quick, powerful.
Wilshut takes the throw, finds Naismith, back to the Dutchman out on the right touchline. Just plays it back to Martin. Martin into Naismith outside the penalty area. Down the right again to Wilshut, who's rolled the ball right into the foot of the near post. And Jason Steele falls on that gratefully for the save. Into the 5th minute, Norwich City 0, Sunderland 0, live on BBC Newcastle. Norwich have drawn Charlton in the League Cup as the ball headed on by Vaughan. Drops down now for McGeady, digs it out for Vaughan again, plays it back to Catamol, across to Galloway on the left. A longer ball played up into the penalty area. He tried to find Graben but turned away by Zimmerman. It's in touch. It's a throw to Sunderland on the left, halfway inside the Norwich City half. I'll tell you what, Norwich City do well in terms of shirt sales. If you look around the stadium, it's all yellow, isn't it? Galloway with the throw here. Looking for Vaughan, comes back to Galloway. Inside now to McGeady. Has to come back under pressure from Reed. Manages to stretch in the centre circle to find Ndong, who's found Honeyman, who's tripped. Caught by James Maddison, 30 yards out on the right side of central midfield. Ndong, McGeady.
Good opportunity here. Good quality ball in.
A dot of spray applied by the referee to the point at which he wants the ball to be placed. McGeady's going to take the free kick on this right-hand side and just rolls it in now to grab him in the area. He tried to swing his right foot at it. It comes to Honeyman to chip back in the box, and then it just eludes the foot of Galloway, Browning I should say, and back to Galloway in the heart of the Sunderland half. And clearly a training ground routine. That free kick nearly came off Grabham, but not quite. And then eventually the ball drops out for a throw to Sunderland on the right, much to the anger of Cameron Jerome. He leaves it for Billy Jones. 0-0 then, 6 minutes in. Jones, little flick over the head of Husband, looking for Honeyman down into the corner. Honeyman turning and twisting, trying to shake off Maddison, who's got the ball off him, but then lost control of it. It's a throw to Sunderland, a yard or so up from the corner flag on the right side again. Billy Jones to take. Honeyman just jogs away in the shadows cast by the River End stand roof, and Jones looking for Honeyman. Is he? No, looking for Grabban in the end. Or Vaughan, who's tackled at the edge of the penalty area. Comes off the referee, falls in favour of Ndong. Catamol back to Ndong, back to Catamol in the centre circle, out to the left now to Galloway. Back to Catamol on the halfway line, left of the centre circle, swings it out right, looking for Jones. Husband tried to put him off, the ball floats over the pair of them, goes out for a throw to Norwich City. Husband takes it, drops back down to Marcel Frank, who began his career with Dynamo Dresden, the German, but then the numerous German clubs in the lower leagues. And now out to Husband on the left-hand side. Back again to Frank, the 24-year-old, 6'4", plays it back to Angus Gunn, on loan from Manchester City. All in dark green, rolls it out to Zimmerman, back to Frank on the left-hand side, across to Zimmerman again. They're always quite patient at the back to play it out, and eventually up to Watkins on the halfway line. Back again though, then to Maddison, looking for Naismith, just inside the Sunderland half. Jerome's onside. He's got Watkins making a run into the box, trying to get around the back of Browning, but he's turned him and got the ball clear, Browning.
Well done.
And out into touch on the halfway line on the Norwich left.
I didn't like that from Coney, putting his hand up, you know, playing for offside.
In the 9th minute, Norwich 0, Sunderland 0, live on BBC Newcastle. Husband back to Frank, back again to Angus Gunn, the 21-year-old. He's been at Manchester City since 2011. Out to the right-hand side, Russell Martin, Wilshut now on the halfway line, on the touchline, dribbling forward, taking this on, trying to shrug off Galloway. Comes onto the centre, just in front of the centre circle, and lays it off now to Frank, who pushes it down the left to Husband. Husband inside to Jerome here, and Ndong whips the ball off a bit. It falls to Watkins. He's fouled by Coney, who was trying to spin past Coney off his shoulder, and Coney barged him over just left of the D at the edge of the penalty area.
Coney's got to be on his toes, you know. He looked a little bit sloppy for me. You know, the first 10-15 minutes of this 10 minutes of this game, he looked a little bit sloppy.
James Maddison over the free kick at the moment. Husband just behind him. The magic spray applied just a few yards inside the box. There's a 5-man Sunderland wall at the moment. Honeyman's just peeled off that on the right-hand side. Husband's lurking there. Maddison then with this free kick for Norwich City in the 10th minute. Andrew Madley blows. Maddison with his right tries to curl this in, but it's gone wide of the left-hand post. But it took a slight deflection off a Sunderland defender.
The wall done its job. But also we've got to make sure that we pick up from here now as well, because they are a big team. You know, you talked about Frank, Zimmerman, Martin, 3 big, strong central defenders, and you've got Jerome in there. We've got to make sure no free headers.
Maddison with the corner kick from the left-hand side, flicked away. Russell Martin chases across with Vaughan to the right wing, pushes it back then to Wilshut, who will play it back to Harrison Reed in the centre circle for Norwich City, and again out wide to Wilshut, who will just hold it for a second before playing it back then to Reed again on the right for Norwich. Longer ball looking for Watkins, turned away by Galloway to James Vaughan. Vaughan back to Galloway and Kone, and back to the goalkeeper Steele, and he sweeps this up towards the halfway line. Reed gets above, and Dong looking for Jerome, took it on his head, brought it down, knocks it away on the right here now to Wilshut, inside to Reed, back to Wilshut down the right, taken on McGeady, taken on Galloway, into the penalty area, into the byline, pulls it back. Was it a corner? The assistant's not sure. He waited for the referee to make the decision, and it's a goal kick.
But you just see what Wilshut's all about. Strong, powerful, and you give him any space, and he'll push it and he'll just power his way through. The only thing about Wilshut is his final ball. His final ball is usually poor.
0-0 then into the 11th minute at Carrow Road. Steele with this goal kick for Sunderland. With his right through the centre, although the players have all drifted out towards the left wing. Comes back here to Martin. Eventually McGeady to Catamol on the touchline, but Norwich have won it back. Watkins as Naismith, an up and under. Jerome chests it forwards. Jones appealed, thinking it was handball. Jerome tried to just thread it through to Watkins, but blocked. It's come out to Naismith, out on the right-hand side now. Wilshut into the penalty area on the right. Left foot strike across the face of goal, runs away behind for the goal kick.
And again, you've just seen that, looking for the pace of Jerome. You know, just played it into the space, and he'll power his way through, get all of it. But again, you know, we've just got to be wary of that.
Ball boy clambers over the advertising hoarding, gets the ball for Jason Steele. Norwich made 3 changes for the League Cup in the week against Swindon. They rested Martin, Watkins and Wilshut, but of course they brought them all back for today's game. The only change is Naismith's in for Vrancic, the Bosnian international. They beat Swindon 3-2 in the week. Next up for them is a home game here against Queen's Park Rangers on Wednesday night. The night, of course, we are at Sheffield Wednesday. Here's Kone, Jerome on his shoulder, and it's played back by McGeady to Kone again. Watkins and Jerome lurking. Comes back to Steele. Watkins tries to close him down. Steele gets the ball clear up to the halfway line, where Wilshut gets his head on it. Comes off the chest of Jerome for Ndong to pluck out and find Billy Jones. Jones takes us over the halfway line. Honeyman out wide right now. Honeyman cuts into the centre more and finds Ndong just behind him. Ndong swings it out to the left, looking for Galloway. It's swept past him though, into touch. At the moment, Norwich looking the more composed of the two teams and enjoy more of the possession. Sunderland want to weather this through for 20 minutes.
Well, that's right. You've got to get through this 20-minute period.
Gunn out to Frank, who played 13 minutes, nearly 14. Here again, Maddison leaves Vaughan on the floor, out to Husband, James Husband on this left-hand side, former Middlesbrough defender. Up to Watkins, Watkins looking for the run of Jerome. He's found him, he's picked him out, but Browning makes the challenge and knocks it just past the post for a corner to Norwich.
Yeah, good play again, but every time they pick the ball up, they're looking for that little through pass for Jerome to run onto.
He's looking a bit of a handful at the moment, Cameron Jerome. This corner on the right-hand side, James Maddison's gone across to take it in front of the Sunderland fans in the south stand.
Again,
so
you've got to concentrate
that
here.
Line of big men for Norwich, breaking from the penalty spot. The ball hangs in the air, it's headed out though by Vaughan, and it's something that Grayson's very mindful of, that Vaughan's very good defensively when it comes to defending set pieces. Naismith playing it back to Reed here at the edge of the centre circle, the Southampton midfielder on loan from the Premier League team. Here he is again on the halfway line in the middle to Naismith, back to Reed's calling and directing operations, trying to get Frank to play it forwards down the left to Husband, but he goes back to the middle and makes a mistake because he's given it to Vaughan, looking for Grabban. It's just sailed past him for the moment, but Grabban's run onto it, into the penalty area, onto the byline, crashes his shot into the side netting.
It's got to go across. Good opportunity. I think he was expecting a better pass from James Vaughan. He just played him about a little bit too wide, but he used his power and pace, so you can see that he can trouble Norwich's defence. I think it should have been a better ball by James Vaughan.
It's a good opportunity, a mistake by Norwich. Still
but that'll give him a little bit more confidence, won't it? Yeah. Sunderland.
As you were saying before, Vaughan's desperate for his first goal. Here's Naismith again looking for that pass through to Jerome. It was cut out. Comes back to Jason Steele, all in white, away to our left into the 16th minute now. BBC Newcastle, Norwich City 0, Sunderland 0. It's still goalless at St James's Park between Newcastle and Tottenham. Steele's kick over the halfway line, hangs in the air, headed away by Russell Martin, away again by the head of Kone. And now on the left hand side, Wilshere pushes it back to Russell Martin. He's been with Norwich 7 years now, Russell Martin, one of the few that you will recognise, like Houlihan and Tetty, as they break again. Wilshere chased by Galloway into the penalty area. He's gone down on his knees. It was far too easy. Yeah. He was looking for that, and Andrew Madley wasn't deceived.
Well done.
Kone whips it out down the left-hand side now, looking for Grabban. He's found him. He's looking for Vaughan, but the goalkeeper Gunn has to come out and clear this at Vaughan's feet, straight onto the head of Browning. To Reed in the centre circle for Norwich, who finds Naismith, slips round Catamol, looking for that little ball through again, but Browning's read it in front of Watkins and will turn this away on the left-hand side, up towards Grabban on the halfway line, who's penalised for a little push on Harrison Reed. The free kick quickly taken, back to Wilshere and Martin on the right back to Zimmerman and to Frank, and Frank back to Zimmerman, Christoph Zimmerman, two 24-year-old Germans in the heart of the Norwich defence. Here's Zimmerman again, signed from Borussia Dortmund 2 by Daniel Farke, his former club. And back to Zimmerman again, right through the centre, straight to Ndong in the centre circle to Catamol. Naismith onto him quickly, gets the ball, fouled Catamol though, who sat on his backside looking imploringly at Andrew Madley, but the referee has given him the free kick.
You can see how the game's panning out, and it's important that the likes of Kone and Browning, they're going to play a big part. They've got to make sure they're on the toes all the time, covering each other, because they're looking for that through ball all the time, especially for Jerome to use his pace and power. But I think we can trouble him as well the other way. We grab him and Vaughan.
Lewis Grabban trying to get on the end of one again. It's come out to Wilshere, bounced awkwardly for him, but he's controlled it now back to Martin on the right, and he's played it through to Wilshere again, and Catamol straight on in, and the ball just rolls back through Martin to the goalkeeper. Gary Bennett with us, of course, on BBC Newcastle, who played in that League Cup final against Norwich City all those years ago. Now with Cameron Jerome to Maddison, to Jerome again. Jerome just holding off Galloway, plays it back to Martin, through to Maddison. Naismith back into the centre circle. Frank, little flick on by Maddison, looking for Watkins. Now Naismith offside, surely, yes. Flag comes up on Jerome. He finished it off, but it doesn't count. It's a free kick to Sunderland.
Yeah, good line by Sunderland.
While we wait for that free kick to be taken, a reminder that Jeff Brown's play, all about David Corner and that League Cup final goal, that takes the stage in the next few weeks around the northeast in South Shields, Sunderland and Durham. Look out for the Flyers.
Am I in the play? Because
I've no idea.
I told him to clear it.
Did you? Then you will be in the play. And now McGeady down the left wing towards the corner flag, gets towards the byline, and in the end dug out by Zimmerman, clears it, but it only comes back to Galloway, and it's stabbed into touch by Russell Martin. In fact, Wilshere, who got his foot to it. Both bearded players on that far side.
I think it's important that, you know, one of our full-backs are tucking round all the time to give cover for Browning and Kone.
In the 20th minute, 0-0 still Zimmerman, second header out, again like the first, dropped to Ndong, but Ndong's lost it. Maddison now for Norwich, rolling it into space, down the left for Husband. Jones comes across to cover. Husband rolls it into the centre here to Watkins, who taps it back to Maddison. Now Naismith. Wilshutt's out on the right-hand side. Here he is, the Dutchman. Galloway in front of him. Wilshutt's taking him on, then turns and rolls it back to Russell Martin. And Martin now threads it into the penalty area to Watkins. Back to Martin. Steele makes a good save. Goes down quickly and grabs that, gets his full body behind it.
Yeah. Good stop by Steele. Good football by Norwich.
So Steele making the save. Norwich City first real chance actually. And now it's with Kone. Out to Galloway. Forwards to Vaughan. Back to, well, Wilshutt's picked it up for Norwich City, and back eventually to Zimmerman, who pushes it out to Maddison just at the edge of the centre circle. And now to Naismith, back again on the right hand side to Martin, who plays it back into the centre to Christoph Zimmerman, and out to Frank on the left, back to Zimmerman. That familiar routine amongst the Norwich centre backs. Again Frank, and Frank is sizing up his options. Back to Zimmerman again, and then pushed on to Naismith. Naismith, longer ball, trying to just get it through the middle to Jerome. Now looking for the run of Watkins down towards the corner, but the ball will roll away from him. Well, he did very, very well actually in the end to get his foot round it on the byline and turn it out into touch for a throw rather than a goal kick.
Yeah, did well there, Watkins, to get there and turn it out for a corner kick.
Quarter of the game gone. Norwich City 0, Sunderland 0, live on BBC Newcastle. Galloway with his throw in front of the travelling band of Sunderland fans, all in their red and white striped shirts. I have to say predominantly the old style shirt, not the new one. And Jerome stretching, can't get his foot round it, and the ball comes back to Steele, who's just rolled it out to Jones on this right hand side now. Jones up to the halfway line, looking just to check here and roll it inside to Ndong. Ndong into the centre to Lee Catamol, back to Browning. And Browning, well, he swung it out wide left. He's looking for the run of Galloway, but getting there first is Wilshutt, who just turns it into touch. Throw to Sunderland. 2/3 of the way inside the Norwich half. Stalemate at the moment, 0-0. Throw from Galloway, trying to find Vaughan. Just squeezed out. Reed's got it. Reed will turn and play this away down the right. Catamol gets his head on it into touch for another throw to Norwich City on the right hand side. No goals here, no goals at St James's Park. And the throw will be taken by Wilshutt eventually on that right hand side, down the line, looking for Watkins, headed away by Kone. Up goes Vaughan, spread spectacularly on the floor, looking for a free kick, but McGeady wins it in the end for a foul on him. Just inside the Norwich half on the left hand side, a few yards in from touch, and McGeady will take the free kick. Catamol's barking instructions to Kone and Browning to get into the edge of the penalty area. Catamol and Ndong wait back in midfield. McGeady clips this into the penalty area. Up goes Billy Jones, headed out, comes to Honeyman, trying to knock it round Reed, and a foul in the end at the edge of the penalty area leads to a free kick for Norwich City. 0-0, 24 minutes into the first half.
Yeah, you've gone through that 20-minute barrier now. You know, both teams have had a look at each other. You know where their strengths and weaknesses are. For me, you've got to make sure you keep an eye on Jerome and Watkins. You know, they're trying to play on the shoulder, looking for that through ball. The Wilshutt, you've got to make sure you show him inside. Don't show him down the line, because that's where he wants to run into. And yeah, they've got that extra man in the middle of the park. You just got to make sure that we keep our shape. But I think going forward, I think we can cause them a problem if we can get the ball to grab him and Vaughan.
A sprint down the left wing for Husband, and Ndong gets there ahead of him and can't keep the ball from rolling away from him behind for a corner to Norwich City. Norwich in their yellow shirts, green shorts, Sunderland in their red and white stripes this afternoon. And Maddison again goes down to the left to take this corner kick.
And again, make sure no free headers.
Maddison then, as they break from the penalty spot, Norwich, headed out by Catamol across the penalty area, though Zimmerman and Kone. It's Kone who gets to it first as they ran out to the touchline on the right side, but then won back by Norwich. Naismith back to Harrison Reed on the halfway line. He plays it square across to Husband at the edge of the centre circle, and he elects to play it back to Angus Gunn outside his penalty area, taps it to Reed. Reed now bringing it through the centre, laying it off to the left to Frank, and out to Husband on this left hand side, lays it back off to Maddison. Maddison inside again here now to Watkins. Watkins trying to find Maddison. Maddison the edge of the penalty area, taking it into the penalty box, tapping it back here at the edge of the area to Watkins. And Watkins now trying to dribble away through, but Honeyman's on his case. He does get it back though in the end to Reed, to Husband, and then to Watkins, who tries to thread it back through to Husband. It comes to Maddison's low shot, who rolls harmlessly wide of the foot of the left post.
Well done, Sunderland. You know, you've stayed compact. Don't let them try to play through you.
Steele then, a goal kick for Sunderland.
The longer the game goes on, Norwich will become frustrated.
0-0. Steele, his kick from the centre of his 6-yard line up towards Vaughan's little flick into Grabban. Grabban beats the keeper. 1-0.
That's what I said.
Sunderland through Lewis Grabban. Vaughan's little flick on, and Grabban, with just the keeper to beat, kept his cool and rolled it into the bottom right corner.
And that's what I've talked about, Nick. You know, the longer the game goes on, they'll get frustrated. But Vaughan and Grabban, which I've said before, with their pace will trouble Norwich's back three. You know, Vaughan's done excellent there. He's won the header. Grabban's gambled. He's got on the end of it. And you know, when we talk about confidence, he stuck the penalty away. All of a sudden, he's confident. You know, he's 1v1 versus the goalkeeper. He's just slotted past him. 1-0 Sunderland. So now what you've got to do for the next 5 minutes is make sure you keep your shape, you concentrate.
So Grabban 2-2 in the league, and Sunderland 1 up. Now, if they can defend as they have been, looks good for them.
Nick, I said from day one, from the start, clean sheet, Sunderland will win the game.
Norwich City 0, Sunderland 1. We played 28 minutes now. Norwich with Reed out to Husband on the left-hand side. Cuts inside into the centre to Naismith. Naismith looking to get it out to Wilshire on the right. He runs into Galloway, gets round him, an advantage played by the referee, but McGeady's there to tidy up, and then the referee pulls play back to give Norwich City the free kick.
Somebody should be having a word with Galloway and just say to him, don't show him outside, show him inside where your strengths are, because he wants to have that space, knocks the ball, I'm telling you, he'll knock the ball and he'll run into it. This is where you've got to make sure you concentrate.
Maddison then with the free kick from the right-hand side. It's Norwich 0, Sunderland 1, live on BBC Newcastle. Plenty of yellow shirts inside the Sunderland penalty area. It's curled in here, Jerome gets his head on it, but well over the crossbar.
I think it was offside anyway.
So still 1-0 to Sunderland, 17 minutes left until half-time.
This is where you're looking for your leaders, aren't you? You know, you've worked hard to get your noses in front. Don't be silly.
And you should see Robbie Stockdale and Adrian Tucker then just trying to relay that message.
Trying to get the message across to him. You know, they'll get, again, you know, frustration will kick it. They'll leave space behind.
Here's Martin to head away. He's limping slightly as Reed knocks it out, and now to Maddison.
Well done, Galloway.
Tried to find Wilshire, but cut out by Galloway, and Dong has to try and get the loose ball. Does it spinning, and then he gets it out to the left, but Wilshire's nipped in front of Galloway, got it back to, well, eventually
throw in.
Grabban tried to break, but the ball had slipped over the touchline.
Norwich will be happy with that because Grabban was onto it.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about Cameron Jerome's pace and Watkins. I tell you what, the three central defenders for Norwich will know about Grabban and Vaughan. You know, they can trouble them behind, and they'll be worried about that.
The two former Norwich strikers. Here's Galloway on the left touchline. The ball's dropped out again into touch for a throw to Norwich City this time. Back it comes now to Zimmerman, to Martin on the right, and back to Zimmerman in the centre for Norwich City, and across here to Frank, back to Zimmerman just outside the Norwich penalty area, and then again out to the right to Russell Martin. Martin to Maddison. Maddison's got Vaughan on his case, and he has to turn and try and shrug him off. Rolls the ball up to Watkins, with Catamol fouling him on the halfway line. Free kick to Norwich. But Sunderland leading 1-0. Quickly taken free kick, too quick for Andrew Madley's liking. Wants it taken again. Now with Reed, back to Martin, back across here to the centre, in the centre circle. Zimmerman out wide left to Husband, just inside the Sunderland half, plays it back into his own half to Frank, then to Zimmerman in the middle, along the back of the centre circle to Martin, up to Maddison, back to Martin, under pressure from McGeady, plays it back to Zimmerman, and Zimmerman across to Frank here on the left again, over the halfway line, into the Sunderland half. Jerome takes this back to goal. Browning's tried to stab it away, but it's come back to Frank on the left of central midfield. Now to Naismith down that side, looking for Jerome, who's whipped it out away from Husband in the touch.
Good shape by Sunderland.
And so Sunderland still lead 1-0. 13 minutes or so until half-time. Live on BBC Newcastle. There's Jones with the throw. Down the line it goes, looking for Vaughan, who managed to get his stomach on it actually. And a foul on Naismith by Ndong. Naismith quickly takes the free kick. Reed to Maddison. Maddison then to Naismith. Browning's trying to cut across him and knocks the ball away with his left as Galloway was coming to cover as well. McGeady to Galloway. It's closed down by Watkins, gets the ball clear. Straight to Martin. Chests it down to Reed. Down the right to Wilshut. Wilshut inside now to Martin. Martin on the right, down the right line again, looking for Wilshut, but Galloway slid in and thumps the ball into the advertising hoarding. Throw taken by Wilshut, comes back here to Reed. Reed again now to Maddison, back to Reed, to Maddison. Out on the right still for Norwich, into the centre. Cameron Jerome quickly whipping it through, trying to get Watkins away, but he's tackled by Kone. Finds McGeady. Quickly down on him is Maddison, but he gets it back here to Galloway, and Galloway hooking this up to the halfway line, but Husband nods it down. Reed lays it back off to Frank. Frank here now to Zimmerman. Sunderland leading through that grab and goal in the 27th minute. We're now in the 33rd, and Maddison lifts one up looking for Naismith, who felt he was pushed to the back by Browning, but the referee sees nothing wrong in that. Now Ndong from the back of the centre circle, out to Galloway. Galloway will play it back to Jason Steele, and Steele launches this upfield. Big kick, high one, and looks for Vaughan's flick on again. He's done it. He's headed it on to McGeady down the left-hand side, on the left touchline. It's going to come in past Zimmerman, holds him off, right foot crossing here towards Vaughan, but it's headed away from him. He flung himself at it, but it was a very, very good cross. Out to Reed, and now back to eventually Frank, and Sunderland close to doubling the lead.
Excellent ball in by McGeady. Must have.
Maddison, Reed on the halfway line, down the left here to Husband. Husband now looking for Jerome, out to Naismith on the left-hand side. Naismith rolls it into the penalty area, left by Jerome for Watkins, but cleared by Kone onto the roof of our stand here. You can hear it bouncing down behind us onto the road. You can't hear it bouncing onto any car roofs. New ball thrown out down the left here for James Husband. He takes the throw back to Frank, inside to Reed. And Reed taking on Graben, through to Watkins. Kone tries to stab it away, and Ndong heads it, cleared it, but only to Naismith. Out wide right now, Wilshut looking for Watkins. It's knocked away behind. It's going to be a corner kick to Norwich City. Norwich's fourth corner in the game, with Sunderland leading by a goal to nil with Just over 10 minutes till half time.
And again, concentrate, communicate, no free headers.
Maddison, as always, to take the corner from the right this time, in the air, headed out by Catamol. McGeady will head it on. It'll drop for Reid, who lays it off to Husband, just left of the centre circle, drives on down this left-hand side. Russell Martin's out here on the left touchline now. Back to Naismith, into Reid again. Reid forwards now to Maddison. Maddison, as Catamol tries to tackle him, gets it out to Husband on the left. Martin's drifting back to the right. Husband to Maddison, blocked by Ndong. Now Ndong, Vaughan's making a run. Grabban still inside his own half though, lays it off back to Jones. Jones, I'm not sure what that was. He's given it straight away to Wilshire on the halfway line on the right. Maddison back to Reid, and Reid now to Maddison. Zimmerman, Reid, across to Frank here on the left, just inside the Sunderland half, looking for Watkins. Kone is right behind him, barges him down, gets the ball to Grabban. Grabban looking for the uneasy of Honeyman, but he has to play it back to Jones, lifting it up in the air. Zimmerman will head this across to Husband, and Jerome's down. He's caught his, by the looks of it, his right knee, but I think he's going to get back up. The ball back with Angus Gunn. Norwich City 0, Sunderland 1, and Jerome appears to be okay for Norwich City. Maddison through the middle now for Norwich, out to the right. Wilshire looking for Naismith. Naismith on the right touchline, Kone on his shoulder, back to Russell Martin, across to Zimmerman, now to Harrison Reid. Reid to Maddison, back to Frank, out to Husband on the left, inside to Jerome, back to Husband, back again here to Frank, and now Husband. Little touch from Honeyman, gets the ball back for Sunderland. He's nudged over by Husband, and a free kick.
I tell you what, excellent work by Sunderland. You know, they're keeping the shape, they're closing down, covering for each other, making it difficult for Norwich to break them down.
In the 38th minute, Browning's jogging across to take this free kick, just a couple of yards in from touch on the right-hand side, just inside the Sunderland half. Driven into the middle, looking for Vaughan, gets his head on it, looking for Grabban, and the keeper catches it. Slightly caught, I think, on the top of his forehead by Grabban, who apologises. It was an accident. But again, Vaughan's absolutely instrumental in winning that ball at the end of the penalty area.
He does very well in the air, Vaughan, and they're starting to get this sort of relationship. Vaughan, Grabban gambling, and it is causing one or two problems for the Norwich central defenders.
Gunn's okay. The referee had a quiet word with Lewis Grabban, but he didn't really do anything wrong. It was momentum more than anything else, and he was trying to jump out the way of Angus Gunn. Had a good pre-season, Norwich. They ended it with a home game here against Brighton, which they drew 1-1, and then they drew on the opening day, of course, with Fulham 1-1. But they are trailing 1-0 here to Sunderland. Now out to Husband on the left-hand side. Husband back to Naismith. Naismith to Reid again on the halfway line, just left of the centre circle, to Frank. Frank to Reid, back to Frank, and back to the edge of the centre circle. Zimmerman to Frank, left to Husband, takes this on now, looking up for Watkins in the middle, but plays it back for Naismith, into Reid again, and he's shown a lot to Honeyman, who caught Reid. So he tried to clear it. Honeyman apologises. Free kick to Norwich City on this left-hand side of midfield, about halfway inside the Sunderland half. Quickly taken to Husband. Back to Maddison. Flicks it inside to Naismith, who tried to flick it on, but straight to Vaughan. McGeady on his shoulder. Vaughan having to take this on his own at the moment. Now finds that Galloway's made a run down the left-hand side. Galloway checks, plays it back to McGeady, just inside the Norwich half, with Grabban, who turns, trying to shrug off Reid. He's fouled by the Southampton man, and it's a free kick to Sunderland.
Good play by Sunderland, you know, winning the ball. What they've been able to do is retain it.
Well, it'd be nice to double the lead before half-time. Catamol flicks it up towards Honeyman, and he nearly got it past the keeper, who had to stretch to get both hands on it.
Unlucky. Just needed a touch by George. That would have been the second goal.
So
intelligent play by Catamol, Lee Catamol.
Yeah. So 1-0 it remains to Sunderland as we approach half-time. The ball with Frank, then to Zimmerman, and out to the right-hand side, Martin. Holds it for a moment.
You can hear the rumblings, can't you?
Yeah.
Getting frustrated.
Husband on the left, back it goes to Frank. Frank into Zimmerman in the centre circle. 5 minutes till half-time. Here's Frank again, and then back to Zimmerman in the centre spot, which rolls it to Russell Martin on the right-hand side. Lifts it up, the Scottish international, looking for Watkins. It comes out though to Grabban. Grabban holding off Naismith, rolls it back sensibly to Jason Steele. He was surrounded by yellow shirts. Steele's kick out to the left, finds Wilshire, and then Galloway gets above him and nods it out over the Dutchman for the throw. The throw taken to Reed, and then Wilshire plays it back to Zimmerman. He plays it across here to Frank on the halfway line for Norwich City, and they come out to Husband on the left-hand side. Back to Frank again, and back again to Zimmerman, to Frank. Sunderland leading 1-0 with Maddison in the centre circle. Norwich City on the ball. Here's Frank up to Jerome with Browning behind him. He gets it to Reed. Now Naismith tackled by Catamol, but the loose ball tidied up by Husband. Back to Frank, into Maddison at the edge of the centre circle, and he gets it through again to Watkins. Watkins though back to the halfway line to Zimmerman, and Zimmerman out wide right now looking for Wilshire. Back to Martin. Martin now to Watkins. Watkins turning right side of central midfield. Vaughan's on him, but he's trying to get forwards into the penalty area, but the cross comes in the end. McGeady to tidy up for Galloway to clear. Back to Zimmerman though. Now Naismith for Norwich as they launch another wave of an attack, and Naismith on the right hand side just lays it off to Martin. Back inside to Naismith. Naismith now to Jerome. Jerome just caught by Jones, the ball to Ndong. Now Grabban, back to Honeyman, who will play it back to Steele. Steele's clearance. High ball hanging in the air at the moment. Vaughan's got an eye on it. Comes down for Ndong. Reed trying to get it back, and eventually it breaks for Frank. He's under pressure. Honeyman got inside him, and he's won a free kick as Frank pushed him over.
Excellent. I tell you what,
perseverance.
Great work rate by Sunderland. They're all putting a shift in.
Just a couple of minutes till half time. This free kick in a good position on the right hand side of midfield, just outside the Norwich penalty area. McGeady to take it.
One thing's for sure, you know, McGeady, what we've seen over the last couple of games, McGeady's quality on the ball from set plays.
So can he deliver again? Angus Gunn, all 6'5" him, his arms aloft. McGeady whips this in, and it's gone right through a sea of players and out for a throw in the end on the left-hand side. It was
for somebody to get
teasing
on the end
ball, wasn't it? Curled right through the 6-yard box. Nobody could get a foot on. If anybody, it was going to be Jerome almost.
Fantastic
got his foot
delivery.
To it. And so curled round out to touch. Throw which will be taken by Galloway for Sunderland, about 10 yards up from the corner flag on the left. Sunderland leading 1-0 as the ball knocked out again for another throw to Sunderland on the far side. In the last minute of the 45, Simon Hooper is the fourth official. Wait to see how much will be added on as McGeady tries to get it into Vaughan. Back to McGeady into the penalty area on the left hand side, trying to shrug off Maddison. Break made into the box by Galloway, down to the byline, little clip across, but it's I think that did that creep out, and the keeper's grabbed it.
McGeady thought it was a corner.
McGeady thought it was a corner, but the ball being placed for a goal kick by Angus Gunn, and that's the left hand side. It's just a short one, brought out by Frank. holding it for the moment, then into Zimmerman again in the centre, out to Russell Martin on the right hand side as we approach the 45th minute, and Kone let the ball run past him. Jerome's on his shoulder, he's played it back to Steele, had to get out quickly. Here's the fourth official. We've got 1 minute of added time, he played 5 seconds of that. Well, now 50 seconds remaining. Ball back with Zimmerman to Frank. Sunderland leading heading into the break by a 1-0. Graben's goal in the 27th minute. Here on the left, Husband back again to Frank, across to Zimmerman. Zimmerman now on the centre spot, through the centre circle, lays the ball off to Naismith on the left. 20 seconds remain of the minimum minute. Swept out to the right to Wilshut. Wilshut trying to get round Galloway, but Galloway's got in front of him, got the ball away, and it's out into touch for a throw to Norwich. Back it comes quickly to Zimmerman. Zimmerman just forwards of the centre circle. Now to Frank on the left-hand side. Out to Husband on the left. That's the minimum minute played. And we're with Husband as the whistle to the referee's mouth. Half-time excellent called, and Sunderland leading at the break by a 1-0. Second period, and we're underway with Norwich pushing the ball back here to Russell Martin, and then Zimmerman in the centre of their defence with Frank, the 3 centre halves. Sunderland stealing goal. Jones, Kone, Browning, Galloway, Graben, Catamol and Dong, McGeady, Honeyman and Vaughan. And Norwich gunning goal on loan from Manchester City. Martin, Zimmerman and Frank. Madison, Reid on loan from Southampton. Here's Madison now trying to find Cameron Jerome, and picked up on the right side by Wilshut in the penalty area, but he pushes his shot well wide for a goal kick to Sunderland. Madison, Reid, Wilshut, Husband, Naismith, Watkins and Jerome is the starting lineup for Norwich City. On the bench for Sunderland, Reuter, Rauter, O'Shea, Asoro, Gibson, Matthews, Khazri and Gooch. The jury's still out on how to pronounce Rauter's name.
Rauter.
As the ball cleared by Jason Steele, looking for the flick on from Vaughan, but it bounces through to Russell Martin, then won by McGeady, and Naismith got a touch. It's found Madison, who leaves it for Zimmerman, and Zimmerman now to the right hand side to Martin, and Russell Martin playing it up towards Watkins, who's found Wilshut. Galloway's chasing him into the penalty area. Wilshut turns and rolls it back to Watkins. Watkins has Catamol in front of him, lifts it to the far post. Out comes Jason Steele and takes it under the challenge from Cameron Jerome. Quick clearance, dropped to Zimmerman, nearly broke through for Graben, who was looking to break, but now with Madison on the halfway line, tapped to Reid. Reid to the left-hand side here, picked up by Frank, out wide left, looking for Husband, fouled by Honeyman. The referee 10 yards away blows immediately. Free kick to Norwich City on the left-hand side. Norwich 0, Sunderland 1 at the start of this second half. We're live on BBC Newcastle.
Soft free kick there, given away by George Honeyman. Now we've got to make sure we've switched on.
Madison, as ever, will take the free kick. A reminder, we've got full commentary Wednesday night, of course, of Sheffield Wednesday versus Sunderland on BBC Newcastle. 2 in the wall, Honeyman and Ndong. Madison then whips this in, looking for a flick on in the end from the edge of the 6-yard box by Frank, but he's headed it wide of the left-hand upright. Picked him out though.
Picked him out, couldn't get it on target.
Arguably, perhaps should have done better, the big German centre half. But it remains Norwich City 0, Sunderland 1. Steele then with the goal kick for Sunderland, drifting across to the left-hand side, and there was a push in the back of Vaughan by Zimmerman. Free kick just forwards left of the centre circle, quickly taken by McGeady, but he hit it, struck it too hard for Honeyman to control, and cleared by Norwich. Pressure on Browning from Watkins, hooks it back over his head. Naismith nodding it on, Browning just heading it away wide right, where Wilshut will run onto this for Norwich. In comes McGeady, sliding in, driving the ball into touch. Throw to Norwich City down the right hand side. 10-12 yards from the corner flag on the right. Now with Martin looking for Jerome, but Kone held him off and the ball rolls back to Steele. 1-0 then. A difference between the two sides. Lewis Grabban's goal after 27 minutes, live on BBC Newcastle. Really warm afternoon, even though the sun's disappeared behind the clouds now. Steele pushed the ball to the edge of his penalty area, kicks it through the centre. Vaughan's got his eye on it. Up goes Frank, drives it with his head straight to Ndong, who finds Honeyman looking for Grabban down the right side of the penalty area. Frank's gone with him. Grabban brings it back out, taps it back here to Jones. And John Joe Shelby's been sent off for Newcastle for violent conduct. So Newcastle down to 10 men, 0-0 in that game. Here's Ndong. Ndong sweeping in his cross, looking for Vaughan, dropped over him. A chase for McGeady, down into the corner. He's just kept it in as the flag stayed down. The assistants looked across the referee. The referee's looked at the assistant.
He needs good eyes from where he is,
yeah,
to see if that's gone out. It's a throw-in.
And it is a throw. Russell Martin's arguing with the referee, but it's a throw to Sunderland, which McGeady's going to leave for Galloway. Galloway then with this throw, 10 yards from the corner flag, finds Vaughan, back down the touchline to Galloway. He's managed to squeeze it through Harrison Reed's legs and he's got it back again, tapped it into Vaughan, tried to press it in, now squares it, cut out from Grabban, and if he hadn't done that, Frank, Grabban would have scored his second. As now Cameron Jerome wrestles with Kone, but Kone gets in front of Jerome and plays it back to Steele. Steele had to be quick to clear from Watkins, well, from one end to the other. And Maddison plays it back into his own half. Well, Vaughan almost picked out Grabban and it would have been a tap-in. It
would have been a tap-in, but I tell you what, excellent play by Kone.
Here's Jerome. He's managed to knock it away to the left for Galloway. And then the end, free kick for Sunderland. Foul on Galloway, I think, by Naismith. It's back inside the Sunderland half. Steele comes out to take this free kick on the left-hand side. Here the Sunderland fans over on the far side. 1-0 Sunderland lead. Steele's kick drifting across to the right. Vaughan again with his eye on it, but headed away by Frank up towards the halfway line. Jones gets above Watkins. It drops from Ndong. Now looking for Honeyman. Cut out by Reed though for Maddison, trying to chip it down the left for Watkins to run on to, but a good challenge by Browning, sliding in and getting the ball away, and eventually a throw for Sunderland. Well, we said they're going to have to work hard in the second half. They will. It'll be sapping in this heat, but you know, they'll get opportunities, Sunderland, again. If they double the lead, it makes it very interesting. Vaughan got a shove in the back from Frank. It's a free kick over on the right touchline. Good. More than halfway inside the Norwich City half. McGeady comes down to take the free kick. Grabban standing in an offside position at the minute. He's going to have to join the line at the 18-yard box. Norwich have got just about everybody back here. They have got everybody back. And so Grabban now looks for the break. McGeady's free kick will be taken by the keeper. And he's bowled it out quickly down this right-hand side to Wiltshire. Skips past Catamol. Now being chased by Vaughan. Wiltshire still going. Vaughan still on his shoulder. Wiltshire still going. He's got round. Vaughan's gone down. Caught by Vaughan, who's going to get his second yellow card of the season and the first of the game.
That's what I've told you about Wiltshire, what he wants to do.
Well, they've taken the free kick quickly again, and again Andrew Madley's not happy with them taking it as quickly. He did that in the first half and called them back, and Russell Martin's in his ear again about that. Not happy about the referee pulling the free kick back. Fourth official Simon Hooper's having to speak to Daniel Tharker. Maddison then with the free kick on the right hand side in the sunshine again, the shadow creeping down and out from the roof of the River End stand. And Maddison sweeps this in towards the far post, headed out and eventually hooked out by Ndong. Right back into the Norwich half where Harrison Reed brings it down. now looks up, and on the halfway line, on the right, takes it out to the wide right to Wilshot. Wilshot tapping it back here to Martin. Martin just inside the Sunderland half, looking to lift it down the right for Cameron Jerome, but out comes Kone and just makes no mistakes, just heads it out into touch for a throw to Norwich City. Wilshot with it, back to Martin. Martin on this right hand side, Sunderland still leading 1-0. Here's Martin again, inside to Maddison, got round the challenge of Grabban, trying to find Watkins, tackled by Browning. Now Grabban, bringing this out, laying it off on the left to Galloway. Galloway off the back of Wilshot into touch for a throw on the halfway line on the left for Sunderland. Robbie Stockdale retrieves the ball, lobs it down to Brendan Galloway, and Galloway now down the line looking for Vaughan, headed away by Martin into the central midfield area. Naismith wins it from McGeady, who half looked at the referee for a foul, but nothing given, and away goes Wilshot down the right, and it's tapped away behind for a corner by Kone. First corner of the second half, Norwich's fifth corner of the game. Sunderland have not had a corner yet in the match, and Maddison's gone down to take this for the home team. The Norwich supporters now trying to get behind their side, who trail 1-0. We're live on BBC Newcastle, we're 10 minutes into the second half. Maddison then on the right, whips this in, and it's dropped out towards Naismith at the back of the area, but hooked away by Grabban, and now picked up on the right hand side by Reid, down the right wing to Maddison. In again comes his cross, Kone again heads it out behind, another corner for Norwich.
And this is where Sunderland have got to weather the storm.
Maddison again down to take the corner on the right hand side for Norwich City.
There's a big hole there, you need somebody in the hole.
With his right and towards the near post, right across the face of goal. Martin flung himself at it on the left edge of the 6-yard box, but couldn't really get any proper meaningful contact, and nods it behind for a goal kick.
He's travelled a long way on it, that ball.
And so Steele placing the ball on the 6-yard line in the centre. Sunderland leading by a goal to nil in the 57th minute of the game. The players drifting towards this near side at the foot of the Geoffrey Watling City stand, and the kick from Steele long up towards Honeyman. He didn't know much about it, bounced off the top of his head, drops then for Jones, who's tried to play it down the right wing for Grabban, but it bounces away from him into touch for a throw to Norwich City. James Husband, the former Middlesbrough left back, leaves it for Frank, who knocks it back to Angus Gunn. Out to Russell Martin on this right hand side, into the centre to Christoph Zimmermann. Zimmermann to Marcel Frank. Back to Zimmermann in the centre, still inside the Norwich City half. Simon Grayson stands with his hands on his hips in his tracksuit at the front of the dugout. Here's Zimmermann again. He rolls it across here for Martin, who has to run onto this on the right touchline, up towards halfway, but turns it inside to Reid. He plays it through to Watkins, back to Naismith, now to Maddison again, but Ndong got a foot to it. It's come back to Martin. Martin now to Maddison, and Ndong on his shoulder. Maddison just trying to find Jerome, wins a free kick, and Ndong clipped him. And just inside the Norwich half, right forwards of the centre circle, this free kick for the home team. Russell Martin takes it, looking for the run down the left edge of the penalty area by Husband, who's headed it down to Naismith, but he fouled Honeyman, and a free kick which Jason Steele will take.
We've got to make sure that we switched on all the time, because they've tried to catch us out on a couple of occasions by taking quick free kicks.
Steele then, the free kick, the ball out at the angle at the edge of the penalty area, just inside the box, and with his right foot hangs in the air in the Norwich half. It looked to me like Vaughan felt that he was squeezed out. He looked at the assistant by the two defenders, and the ball's picked up by Ndong, comes back to Galloway on the centre spot, leaves it for Catamol. Catamol trying to find Graben, but knocked away by Martin, only as far as McGeady. McGeady down the left edge of the penalty area, looks up, Vaughan's in the centre, Graben's calling for it. McGeady to the byline, pulls it back, and it's headed behind by Husband for a first corner of the game to Sunderland.
Great play. And that's what you like about McGeady, when he gets in them positions, you know, there is an end product. You know, he gets his crossing.
Honeyman then in front of the bank of Sunderland fans on that far side to take Sunderland's first corner from the right.
Zonal marking,
it is zonal marking as Honeyman hangs in the air looking for Vaughan, headed out by Wilshut, come out to Catamol, who just lays it off to McGeady. McGeady tries a shot.
Oh, my word!
McGeady drives it home from 22 yards and doubles the lead. Catamol teeing him up, and Sunderland now lead Norwich City by 2-0.
I'll tell you what, it's a waste of time diving for that. Good. There's no way you were going to get to that. But I tell you what, great play by Catamol. He's come out to him, he's laid it to McGeady, and I tell you, what a strike.
A lovely finish. Just teed up nicely, and he struck it first time and left gun with no chance. Norwich 0, Sunderland 2.
That's what I've said to you, McGeady. There is an end product, and that end product was a goal. What a strike.
So Sunderland now in a strong position in the game.
Change it now, see.
Wilshut's going off, and Josh Murphy is coming on. The Dutchman replaced by the 22-year-old, a product of the academy here, Josh Murphy. But Sunderland now in a strong position, 2 up in the second half, as Naismith trying to find Watkins. Watkins edge of the area, tackled by Ndong, and left for Galloway to bring the ball away through the middle. Now to Honeyman, and Honeyman out to McGeady on this left-hand side. Swings it across to the right to Vaughan. Vaughan on his chest, bringing this back down and taking it round to the right and playing it to Jones. Back to McGeady and Vaughan and Catamol. And McGeady's out on the left, and his ball eventually comes back to Gunn. Dele Alli has scored for Spurs at St James's Park. Newcastle playing with 10 men, trail 1-0. Here at Norwich, trail Sunderland 2-0. And we're in the 61st minute of the second half. Frank for Norwich. Longer ball, looking for the run of Cameron Jerome, but cleared behind for another Norwich corner by Browning. Husband has gone down to take it. In fact, he's left it for Maddison. Now, Sunderland could really put this game to bed if they could get a third.
Before that, let's concentrate on this corner kick again.
Maddison in towards the near post. It's dropped for Jerome.
Well done.
They couldn't dig it out. He had Browning. Well, Galloway was on his shoulder. And the ball's gone out for a throw on this Norwich right. Browning's standing. He's got himself on his feet. He got a knock in that passage of play. He's okay. Or he's clutching his right chest. Here now, right side of his chest. Here's Martin to Reed. Almost back on the halfway line. Squared here to the left-hand side to Frank. Looking for Watkins. Cleared by Kone.
Excellent Kone.
Right back up into the Norwich half. Norwich City 0, Sunderland 2. 63 minutes almost played. Here's Frank. Now to Maddison in the middle, trying to find Watkins, pushed out by Kone. Now with McGeady, one back by Maddison. McGeady trying to stab the ball away again, but Maddison's still got it. He cuts inside now and tries to flick it through to Naismith. Back to Maddison, knocked away by Galloway, comes out to Naismith. Now Reed trying to find Maddison, cleared by Ndong. Catamol rolling it here on the right to Jones. Cameron Jerome goes to close him down, but Jones long ball up into the Norwich half, nodded away to the left to Husband by Frank, who gets it back from James Husband. And now with Zimmerman. 2-0 Sunderland lead. Here's Frank. We're live on BBC Newcastle. Frank up to the halfway line on the left-hand side, rolls it back to Zimmerman. And it's been A journey, a long journey for those Sunderland fans, but all worthwhile if it carries on in this vein. Here's Galloway down the left-hand side, tackled on the halfway line by Martin, right in front of Simon Grayson. And it's a throw on this left-hand side to Sunderland. A free kick. No, it is a throw.
Would Mr. N. Baxter, that's Mr. N. Baxter, please make himself known to the
Here's
nearest.
McGeady.
Thank you.
Oh, he nearly gifted it to Watkins. He tried to play it back, but thankfully Watkins caught slightly unawares, nearly kicked it away back to Jason Steele. So still Norwich 0, Sunderland 2 in the 65th minute. Up goes Vaughan, flick on. Picked up here by Zimmerman. Plays it back to his goalkeeper, Angus Gunn. Son of Brian Gunn, on loan from Manchester City. Rolls it out to Frank, calling for it. His husband is frustrated because Frank didn't pick him out down the left. Now Jerome in the centre circle gives it away to McGeady. Taps it on to Graben. Little back heel to McGeady again. He's being hauled back by Jerome. Free kick to Sunderland just inside the Norwich City half.
Great play.
Norwich are going to make another change here. I wonder if they're going to bring on Oliveira, but Catamol. Houlihan's 5'6". This guy's about 5'10" or 11. Here down the left is Vaughan. Vaughan now plays it back. Yeah, Oliveira. Nelson Oliveira, a player who's been linked heavily with a move to Reading. Now Ndong down the right to Honeyman. Honeyman looking for Graben down the right side of the penalty area. Zimmerman's on his shoulder. Graben turns it back here. Jones trying to dig it out into the penalty area. It comes back out to him. He knocks it back to Ndong. And then into Graben again. Graben to Jones. Jones out to Honeyman on the right. Here's the cross. Cleared by Zimmerman. Well, into the air. It's hanging there for the moment. Jones with an eye on it. Heads it on to the edge of the penalty area where Frank clears it. Only as far as Naismith. And then a foul on Maddison leads to a free kick to Norwich. A break down the right here. Martin inside to Naismith. Naismith out to the right wing to Murphy. Josh Murphy coming inside now. Plays it square. Maddison blocked by Honeyman. Then cleared by Kone. A stretch for Naismith that lets the ball run though to Vaughan. Vaughan looking for Graben in the middle. Now McGeady. McGeady squeezed by 3 Norwich players. The ball breaks for Reed down the right hand side of central midfield and out to Murphy on the right hand side. And Murphy now dribbling at the penalty area, cutting across the back again. And Ndong goes to close him down. Murphy still has it, turns it back on the right to Naismith, to Maddison. Back out to Murphy. Murphy strike wide. And they will now get a chance to bring on Oliveira, the Portuguese international Oliveira, and they're bringing him on for Jerome. Frustrating afternoon for the Norwich forward. Nelson Oliveira, who came on at Fulham to score the equaliser in Norwich's opening game. 6'1", 26-year-old, signed from Benfica last year.
I think they've changed it now. They've gone with the 2 up front. I think they've gone with a flat back 4 now.
Russell Martin's come to right back, and Zimmerman and Frank, the 2 centre backs, as it drops for McGeady, heads it back to Catamol, lifting it over the top, looking for the run of Graben. And it's gone out. In fact, offside in the end was awarded, and it's a free kick which is quickly taken by Norwich, who trail 2-0 here with a quarter of the game left. Husband down the left looking for Murphy. Cutting in front of him was Jones, knocks the ball out for a throw to Norwich City. Well, you'd hope that if Norwich push for a goal back, they leave themselves a bit more open at the back, although I suppose they've gone to a flat 4 just to try and legislate against that. Now free kick for a foul on Murphy by Billy Jones over on the far side, on the touchline on the left. Cross strolls the referee, Andrew Madley. And he jogs back to the back of the penalty area. Maddison, as always, will take the free kick for the home team, trailing to those 2 goals. It's into the penalty area, headed out powerfully by Vaughan, and it's come out into midfield to Husband, who rolls it out wide left now. And there, Maddison down the left to Murphy. Murphy taking on Catamol. Honeyman's with him as well. Murphy clips it in, but behind wins a corner. Norwich's 8th corner of the game, but they trailed 2-0. Maddison to take the corner from the left-hand side for the yellow and green Canaries. From the right foot of Maddison, almost crept in off Frank. He kicks the post in frustration. It came right across the face of Jason Steele's goal, and Frank felt he should have done better.
Yeah. Another great ball in, but he just couldn't get on the end of it.
20 minutes left to play then. Norwich 0, Sunderland 2. Steele placing the ball for the goal kick, the edge of his 6-yard box. The players have drifted across this near side again. Steele will drive the ball down the left, looking for Vaughan, but up goes Frank, heads it forwards, looking for Oliveira. Nods it down in the centre circle, being chased by Kone. It comes back here. Husband had to be alert because Grabham's waiting to pounce. It's cleared by Gunn from the advancing Lewis Grabham. Spurs lead 2-0 now at Newcastle. Ben Davies scoring the second. Here's Watkins for Norwich as Galloway stabbed it away. Finds Honeyman. Honeyman now to... Oh, Honeyman. And Dong's taking the referee out, but he's recovered. And Dong gets a pat on his bottom for his troubles. And the ball comes out here on the right-hand side to Russell Martin now. Up to Catamol, though, given away by Norwich. Catamol with Naismith. He holds off Naismith, plays it back then to Kone. In the centre circle, looking for Grabham. Knocked away by Frank, but only as far as Kone. Out to McGeady on the left wing. McGeady here, halfway inside the Norwich half. McGeady taking on Watkins, swinging a great cross. Grabham! What a lovely goal!
I tell you what
a beautiful finish from Lewis Grabham. Wonderful cross from McGeady, and Grabham, his powerful header, left Gunn no chance whatsoever. 3-0.
I tell you what, I've always said about McGeady, you know, there's an end product in there. I tell you what a ball in, but again, Grabham, goals for you, confidence, all of a sudden he's reading, he's getting to understand Aidan McGeady, he cuts back on his right, but what a ball, good finish by Grabham. 3-0 Sunderland.
Well, that's surely no way back now for Norwich City. It's Norwich City 0, Sunderland 3, 2 for Lewis Grabham and 1 for Aidan McGeady, but what a cross from McGeady for that header for Lewis Grabham to extend the lead.
Excellent, excellent play. And that's what we're talking about, you know, when you're talking about quality, you know, that's what you're going to get out of McGeady. And he's not fully fit yet.
No, but it's quality. And Sunderland now well and truly in pole position. Norwich 0, Sunderland 3. They're going to enjoy the journey back to the northeast tonight. Here's Frank bringing this forwards for Norwich City. And now Grabham again in the centre circle, but the ball breaks after a challenge by Reed for Naismith, who plays it back across, and now back it comes to Kone. And back to Steele. Steele clears. Up goes Galloway. It comes back for Catamol, who launches onto the roof. Gibson's coming on.
Take him off.
Shakes the hand of the manager. So, have to wait a moment. Maddison looking for Naismith. And then it breaks in the penalty area, and Dong's trying to dig this out.
The amount of things
he's put in a shift broken up.
I'll tell you what, it's been excellent in front of that back four.
He's even broken up the referee. Catamol coming off, then Gibson to come on.
Sensible.
Yeah.
He's wondering who to give the armband to. Yeah. I give it to Darren Gibson. I think he's going to give it to him.
Here comes Catamol then with the captain's armband. And he's still got that armband actually as he comes off, so I don't think at the moment they are captainless. Steele at the back with his free kick in the end. Well, you can't see a way back at all for Norwich. 16 minutes to play, 3-0 down. In fact, you could see Sunderland extending the lead even further. Big kick up, looking for Vaughan again. It comes down here on the left for McGeady. McGeady with Watkins on his shoulder, just holding it, McGeady, and then onto his right foot. And he rolls it into the path of Ndong, and Ndong just slips it through here, the edge of the area. He tried to just put it in the path of Grabban. Grabban just didn't expect it, and it's cleared out to McGeady on the left-hand side. What a goal that would have been with the build-up from Ndong. Then Martin trying to clear. Grabban was on his case, he clears into touch. At the moment, Norwich again. Looking all over the place. Grabban back to Galloway. McGeady tried to flick it on, back heel, but it's come out from Norwich. And then the referee's seen Grabban commit a foul and awards Norwich a free kick. Quickly taken. And
that's a foul. That's a foul.
Yeah, a foul on Galloway by Oliveira.
Great to see the Sunderland supporters singing as well. We've given them something to
really
sing about.
You can hear them.
You know, all of a sudden, you know, you're looking at a team where they've been organised, they've worked very, very hard, but what they have done as well, they've had that quality to finish things off.
Oh, they're basking in the sunshine in the south stand at the moment, and watching Vaughan head this on, looking for Grabban, who's on a hat-trick, and he's just controlling it, laying it off to McGeady on this left-hand side now. And up to Galloway. Galloway holding it back to McGeady on the left. McGeady halfway inside the Norwich half. Here's his cross. The flag stays down. It's come up for Vaughan and he's cracked it into the face of Gunn. But it is a free kick for offside for Norwich City. Taken quickly by Angus Gunn. Out to Frank. Norwich City 0. Sunderland 3. Here's Maddison up to the halfway line. 15 minutes left to play. Looking for Naismith. Kone crashes into him. Ball drops for Gibson. Gibson now to Grabban on this left-hand side, just inside the Norwich half. He swings it through the middle, looking for Vaughan, but it'll be Frank's ball. Vaughan just behind him, and Frank is aware of that, but plays it back to Gunn, who pushes it out now to Zimmerman, and now to Reed. They're going to make another change. Houlihan is going to come on for Norwich. Houlihan was signed at Blackpool by Simon Grayson, so he knows all about him, and he will be Norwich's final change of the afternoon, final throw of the die, with a 3-0 down. Here's Martin looking for Oliveira, comes back to Russell Martin. Martin then to Reed in the centre circle, back to Martin, back again then to Zimmerman, across on the left hand side to Frank, then forwards to Naismith, laid off here to Frank again, forwards again down the left hand side, comes back from Oliveira, eventually to Zimmerman. You can hear the frustration in the Norwich supporters. Down the left, it's picked up into Oliveira. Oliveira's tripped by Billy Jones. It'll be a free kick on the left, and Houlihan will come on now for Naismith. I have to say, Steele's been barely troubled this afternoon.
He has had nothing to do.
Hasn't had anything to do, really, has he?
And that's credit to the players in front of him. I tell you what, they've put a shift in. They've been organised, but they've got to keep it going. You know, clean sheet.
Well, Wes Houlihan, one of their longest-serving players, has been at the club 9 years now. Here's the free kick towards the far post, headed back across the face of goal. Oh. Norwich have pulled one back.
Words out of my mouth.
Now, who got their head on the end of that one?
Galloway's got to look over his shoulder. He's got to do better, Galloway.
Was it Watkins? Anyway, Norwich have pulled one back.
No, it's on the goal. Grabban.
Was it Grabban?
Yeah, I think he scored a hat-trick. He has scored a hat-trick.
Own goal from Lewis Grabban. The free kick was swept in from the left.
Grabban scored it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, Grabban got his right foot to it and knocked it past Steele. So that'll go down as a Grabban own goal. A shame to mar the possibility of a clean sheet. So in the 78th minute, Grabban's own goal pulls one back for Norwich. 3-1 though to Sunderland. Now McGeady was fouled by Watkins.
Great skill by McGeady.
this free kick on the left-hand side of midfield. McGeady again to take it. Line of players at the edge, just inside the penalty area. McGeady curls this in, headed down, but only as far as Kone tries to swing his foot at it, and Grabban puts it over the bar. Dropped down for him, but his head was up, and he's launched it over the crossbar into the Norwich fans behind. 1-3 it remains. Norwich 1, Sunderland 3. Ultimately, it's the win that's most important. Sunderland very much in the driving seat for that, as you'd expect Norwich to push forward in search of goals in the latter stages of the game now, but maybe a little bit too forlorn for them with just over 10 minutes to go. Trailing 3-1 Norwich. Steele rolls the ball out into this D with his right foot, kicks it out towards the left here now, and Vaughan battles with Martin, gets his head to it. It's Ndong and Reid. Reid got his foot to it. Houlihan trying to lift it down the left for Murphy, and it's just knocked away by Billy Jones, back over his head down the Sunderland right, and Ndong here now laying it off to Gibson. Gibson, long ball down the right now. Was that looked offside to me, Grabban, but assistants kept his flag down and gone with him. Grabban down the right side of the penalty area, holding it for the moment. Husband on his shoulder, bringing this back, Grabban, and needing some support really, but in the end he's lost it out to Houlihan. Houlihan bringing this away up towards the halfway line, but Grabban wins it back again. And Lewis Grabban, one-time teammate of Wes Houlihan here at Norwich, leaves it for Ndong. Now Gibson. Gibson out to the right to Honeyman. Honeyman looks up, he's got Grabban in the middle, but it wasn't a good pass.
Could have been better.
And cut out by Zimmerman. Leaves it for Maddison. On the break, Norwich again up towards the halfway line. 10 minutes to play. Norwich City 1, Sunderland 3, live on BBC Newcastle. Now here's Watkins down the right edge of the penalty area. Kone's got in front of him, holds off Watkins, who got the touch.
Goal kick.
Well, Watkins felt that it was Kone who's having to pick himself off the floor that got the touch, but the referee pointed to the goal kick, as did the assistant. Kone's all right.
Attendance is 26,340.
Well, over 26,000 here today.
Gucci's going to come on. I would imagine he'll come on for Honeyman.
Yes, possibly. Fresh legs in this heat.
Poor kick.
And Steele's kicked it straight out down the tunnel. And throw on the right for Norwich, which Russell Martin takes quickly. Now with Frank out to the left-hand side to Husband. Back it comes to Frank. Across to Zimmerman. Up to the halfway line on the right-hand side. Looking for Oliveira. And now with Houlihan. Houlihan to Maddison. Maddison, well, he's skipped the challenge of Ndong, but he's gone down and the free kick's been awarded. It's quickly taken. Here's Houlihan at the edge of the area. He curls this one in, and out comes Steele and takes that in the air before Murphy could get on the end of it. Of course, if Norwich were to score again, it would make things very interesting.
Don't think that.
Gooch to come on still. Steele's kick, a big one, up towards Grabban now, heads it across the left to McGeady. Always looks promising when he's on the ball on this left-hand side. He skips inside Reid, he's curled one in, straight at the goalkeeper though. And he's bowled it out immediately down the left to Murphy. Up to the halfway line, over the halfway line, and Ndong in front of him. He rolls it into the path here of Husband on the left-hand side. Inside now to Houlihan. Houlihan has to bring it back out, leave it for Murphy. And Murphy, he's got Houlihan inside of him, he's got Husband down the left, leaves it for Houlihan. Houlihan out then to Husband on the left-hand side, and he will hold it for a second. Now tries to play it into Houlihan, who's at a back heel here, and the ball played across Steele, manages to parry it away, and Russell Martin hits the post in the follow-up. And now it comes out to Reid, into Oliveira at the edge of the penalty area. They're trying to dig it out, Sunderland, but they can't. Russell Martin tries to put it back in the penalty box and then headed away in the end by Browning for another corner. to Norwich City. Gooch still waiting to come on.
I think they'll change it and maybe bring John O'Shea on.
Well, they're going to let the change be made now, and it's McGeady who's coming off and Gooch who's coming on.
Sunderland substitution, placing number 19, Aidan McGeady. He's number 27, Lyndon Gooch.
Well, I think Sunderland trying to make the substitute to break up that momentum as well as anything else at the moment. Here comes Gooch, who's going to have to defend a corner. That's going to be his first activity. This corner from the right-hand side will be taken by Houlihan, and Houlihan then with his left hangs in the air. Steele's going for it. He's punched it out, but Frank will just lay this off, and Maddison lays this off to Murphy. Murphy drives it back in. It's hooked away by Gibson. Out to Zimmerman. Zimmerman heads it down towards the right-hand side, where Houlihan's run onto this for Norwich City. Norwich 1, Sunderland 3, with just over 5 minutes remaining, nearly 6. Here's Husband down the left-hand side again for Norwich, finding Murphy, skips round Honeyman, down towards the byline, pulls it back and put behind by Gibson for
I'll bring John O'Shea on
Norwich
and
corner.
grab him off or somebody, you know.
Yeah, O'Shea's going to come on, look, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, you know, put the extra defender on just to see out these last 5 minutes.
Yeah, short corner, pulled back to Houlihan. Here's his cross, headed out by, well, it's sprinting out Browning, out to Gooch on the left-hand side, and Harrison Reed put an arm round him. Gooch went down, they felt it was a foul. Sunderland, the referee shakes his head. Picked up by Husband. Husband now to Houlihan. The Norwich fans trying to get one last effort out of their team. 2 goals down here. Norwich 1, Sunderland 3. As they break down the left again, Murphy, who's been a livewire since he came on for Norwich. He's played it in here, and it's cleared behind by Galloway. 2 Norwich players, they just needed a touch. And it's knocked away again behind for another Norwich City corner. O'Shea's coming on and Graben's going off.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sunderland substitution, placing number 11,
Well, getting a grandstand finish.
is number 16.
Sunderland looking to see this game out. And Graben, former player, booed off and strolling off. Understandably in no hurry to come off, but O'Shea now has to sprint on.
Concentrate here. No free headers.
This corner from the left-hand side for Norwich City at the River Wensum end of Carrow Road. Whipped in here and headed over the crossbar.
John O'Shea
For another corner.
And again.
Down to the right-hand side go Norwich for another corner. Taken, well, they almost got themselves confused, but Reed's got the ball in the penalty area. Jones heads it away only to the left-hand side. Maddison looked to try and knock it back in, but Kone cut across him, and Kone takes the ball out to the right touchline and hammers it back up into the Norwich half, where it's headed by Gunn to James Husband. Husband inside now to Zimmerman. Into the last 5 minutes, 4 minutes left to play. Norwich City 1, Sunderland 3. Out to Martin on the right, inside to Reed. Across the centre circle now to Frank. Husband on the left, just inside the Sunderland half. One back though by Billy Jones, and he bangs it up into the Norwich half. Out comes Gunn. Pushes it to Zimmerman. Now to Maddison. Maddison to Houlihan, back to Maddison just inside the Sunderland half. Houlihan here again, leaving it for Watkins, back to Houlihan, and Houlihan now to Oliveira. Oliveira 25 yards out, low shot driven at Steele. He didn't grab it, it just came up out his hands, but nobody close to him, and he gathers it now safely. And he'll just take a few seconds. Norwich 1, Sunderland 3, 3 minutes left. Steele's kick. Out towards the left, Vaughan with his eye on it. Up goes Frank, drops for Reed. Then he's picked out Maddison. Maddison looking for the run down the right-hand side here of Watkins. Houlihan in support with him. out to the right touchline. Houlihan back inside now to Maddison, and Dong tries to tackle him. Maddison goes round him. Maddison's trying to find a way through, but Dong got a foot to it. Now Gibson, but one back by Martin to Watkins at edge of the penalty area, looking for Martin again, knocked out again by Sunderland. Houlihan will pick it up on the right hand side. Gooch in front of him, trying to block the potential cross. Here's Houlihan's cross. Oh, and a great save by Steele from Watkins, and Martin can't get on the end of it. Great and save. Hooked away by Browning. Somehow Sunderland kept that out, and now they come back again. Norwich. Husband to Murphy. Murphy hooking it into the penalty area, headed out by Kone, and Dong heads it in the air. Vaughan's got an eye on it, Gibson's got an eye on it. The whistle's blown, foul on Gibson, and a free kick to Sunderland.
They're under a little bit of pressure. Sunderland have got to see this game out.
So
it was a great block by Kone from
just
that
a minute
volley.
Or two remains, and Sunderland lead 3-1. Steele strolling out to take a free kick halfway inside his own half, almost up to the 90th minute now. We'll see how much time added on by Andrew Madley. I can't imagine there'll be a great deal. Sunderland just need to see this out. Up towards Vaughan. Zimmerman heads it back down to Russell Martin, almost in the corner. He drove it against Vaughan. It comes out for a throw to Norwich on the right, quickly taken by Martin. Inside then to Houlihan. Reid, sorry, on the break up towards Oliveira on the halfway line. Back to Reid. Now here to Maddison. Maddison into the Sunderland half, lays it off to Houlihan, who plays it back eventually to Reid in the centre circle. That's the 90 minutes virtually up, and back with Reid looking for Oliveira. Here comes the fourth official, Simon Hooper. 5 minutes of time being added on here as Norwich. Oliveira out to Martin on the right hand side, back into Reid in the centre. Reid now plays it square here to Houlihan. Houlihan looking for the run of Husband, but he's gone behind Husband. He's just kept it in on the touchline, but stabbed out by Honeyman for a throw to Norwich, 12 yards from the corner flag on the left-hand side. Comes back for Houlihan to cross, headed out by Kone. It'll come back at them though through Reid on the right-hand side. He turns it back to Oliveira. Norwich trailing 3-1. Here's Maddison now. Maddison looks and just plays it short to Houlihan, and now out on the left edge of the penalty area, rolls it out to Husband. Husband's got Murphy in support. Murphy here now, looks up and plays it to Maddison. Nearly a minute played of the minimum 5. Maddison into the edge of the area, little flick from Houlihan, only found on Dong. Honeyman has to get this clear, but Husband stabs a foot at it and wins it. Here's Husband's cross, looking for Watkins, caught
Great
by
take.
Steele.
Great take, Jason Steele. Fantastic.
Into the second minute of the 5 added on at the end of this game. Norwich City 1, Sunderland 3. And Steele has possession at the moment. Kicks out to the left-hand side, hangs in the air. Zimmerman gets above Vaughan, drops for Galloway, stabs it then to Gibson, back to John O'Shea. Long ball right up to Angus Gunn. Rolls it out quickly to Zimmerman. Zimmerman now through to Maddison. Maddison through to Houlihan. Houlihan has Murphy making a run down the left-hand side. Murphy down the left edge of the penalty area, into the box, trying to get it on his right foot.
Great.
Tackled by Ndong, and then turned away by Sunderland, only as far as Husband on the left-hand side. Into Reid in the middle now for Norwich City. He's found Oliveira again. Oliveira looks up, plays it down the right, looking for the run of Martin to the byline, blocked by Gooch, and the ball bobbles out eventually for another corner, a 13th corner of the afternoon to Norwich City. 2.5 minutes of the minimum 5 played. Sunderland leading 3-1. From the right then, this corner kick on the left foot, and it's lost by Steele. He leapt for it with his arm outstretched, but it's spun past him out into touch for a throw in on the far side to Sunderland. Now, no hurry to take this as we approach 3 minutes of the minimum 5 at the end of this game. Billy Jones slowly jogs across to the corner to take this throw for Sunderland on the far side. Sunderland's fans heartily sing on the far side.
I think overall it's been an excellent performance by Sunderland.
So throw taken down that right touchline, digging it out is Vaughan. He's tripped up on the touchline, wins a free kick for Sunderland.
Does Grabham get the ball because he scored a hat-trick?
Technically, I suppose he scored 3 goals, but I think he'll want that last one erased from his records. 2 goals for Sunderland and 1 for Norwich City. Aidan McGeady in between times. Sunderland lead 3-1 as Vaughan tries to head it on. Newcastle have lost 2-0 at home to Tottenham and had John Joe Shelvey sent off as well. And here is Zimmerman for Norwich City as we approach the last minute of the minimum 5 being added on at the end of the game here. Oliveira in the centre circle, but it's won back by O'Shea to Gibson. Gibson now finding Vaughan. Vaughan just tapping it back to Honeyman, who looks shattered on the far side, and plays it up towards Billy Jones. Frank heads it away from him into touch. We're into that final minute. Norwich City 1, Sunderland 3. As Billy Jones again just slowly strolls across to take the throw on the far right hand side. Down into the corner goes Honeyman with it and tries to play it off Murphy, but Norwich dig it out, get it clear up to Oliveira on the left wing, but he's lost it then, and Browning plays it through to Gooch. Gooch now is nearly tripped, but in the end he's won it again from a challenge from Watkins, edge of the penalty area. In the end he tried to play it through and it's blocked by Norwich, and out it comes to Ndong. 15 seconds of the minimum 5 minutes remain. 3-1 to Sunderland. Gooch again from Ndong, and Ndong trying to run onto this and finds Gooch. Gooch trying to find Ndong again down the left, and he's looking tired too as he tries to take this down into the corner. We're a couple of seconds away from the minimum 5.
Excellent play,
and eventually it's knocked off on Ndong for a goal kick.
He's put a shift in, Danny.
And there it is. Sunderland win 3-1. They worked hard for it, but they've deserved it, and they've had to weather a storm from Norwich in the closing 15-20 minutes as well, but they've seen it out, and that's a solid win for Simon Grayson.